Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into a stack of sources to uncover the most compelling nuggets of knowledge.
Always good to be here.
So today, we're stepping into a digital realm that's, well, as raw and immediate as it gets, really. A live stream of consciousness, a Twitter space.
Ah, yes, those can be quite something.
Exactly. Picture a bustling online town square where conversations just unfold in real time, completely unscripted.
Very different from your curated feeds.
Totally. And our mission in this deep dive is to explore the really fascinating role of one particular speaker within this unique environment, a Daniel Hill. He's known affectionately to his community as Alberto.
Alberto, right. I've seen that name come up.
We're going to unpack how he doesn't just participate, He profoundly shapes these spontaneous discussions.
Okay.
And how his incredibly multifaceted digital identity, it shifts from like an indispensable co-host and rule maker to a deeply personal, almost family-like figure. And sometimes he's even playfully perceived as an AI. We want to see how all that is understood and experienced by others in the space.
That's quite a range of identities. AI even, wow.
Yeah, it's a rich tapestry of online identity and community, and we're drawing our insights from an in-depth ethnographic document and a detailed transcript of a real, unfiltered Twitter space conversation.
So raw data, that's good.
Get ready, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's immediately striking, I think, when we look at these sources is how these seemingly casual, maybe even chaotic, online interactions, they provide such a clear, vibrant window into the complex dynamics of digital communities.
Right. It's not just noise.
Not at all. Alberto isn't just a voice among many. He emerges as, well, almost a central organizing principle. He brings coherence and emotional depth to an environment that, by its very nature could easily just dissolve into pure fragmentation.
He holds it together in a way.
Precisely. His diverse roles aren't just labels people slap on him. They are active functions. And they seem absolutely crucial to the emotional, even the structural landscape of this particular space.
So let's start by painting a picture of this unique digital canvas, a Twitter space. Forget your carefully curated social media feeds. This is something else entirely.
Yeah, it's live. It's immediate.
Our sources describe it as a unique and raw forum, almost like a contemporary fireside chat. The very essence of it lies in its unscripted nature. People just gather to connect, to be together, really. There's no preset agenda, no rehearsed script.
It's about presence, isn't it? And that immediate interaction.
Exactly. That's the core.
Right. And the core concept here, as the analysis highlights, is what they call a stream of consciousness canvas. The conversational flow is anything but linear, not straightforward at all.
More winding.
Profoundly so.
Yeah.
It's described as fragmented and associative, much like how your own thoughts might leap from one idea to another, driven by fleeting connections, random impulses.
Like channel surfing in your head.
Kind of. It's not propelled by a clear, predefined topic, but by algorithmic suggestions and personal whims, creating this incredibly dynamic, live, collective internet browsing experience almost.
So everyone's just throwing things out there.
Pretty much. Imagine everyone in the room verbally sharing whatever pops into their head, influenced by what they just saw online, or a memory that just surfaced.
Sounds chaotic.
It can be. And this inherent chaos is the crucial backdrop, you see. It's against this that Alberto's influence, particularly his ability to introduce structure and meaning, becomes so remarkably clear and impactful.
Ah, okay. So you need the chaos to appreciate the order he brings.
Exactly. Without understanding this initial state, his contributions might seem merely incidental, but within this context, they are, well, foundational.
That makes perfect sense. And for a significant portion of this particular deep dive into the Twitter space, the primary speaker, Traumalez, acts as the narrator streamer.
Right. She seems to kick things off or hold the floor initially.
Yeah, she's essentially conducting a public think aloud session, an open exploration of her own thoughts and reactions. We hear her responding in real time to just a kaleidoscope of external media.
Like what, for instance?
Well, for example, at one point, around 14.37 in the transcript, she's trying to identify 80s music from just the intros, like a fun, nostalgic auditory quiz.
Okay, lighthearted stuff.
But then later, around 14.04, she dives into lists about psychological traits related to trauma, openly processing quite complex personal experiences.
Wow, quite a shift.
Huge shift. And then by 17.09, the topic changes entirely again. She's exploring various hardcore techno subgenres. She also touches on current political news.
So really all over the map.
Yeah.
Music, trauma, techno, politics.
Exactly. This constant, almost jarring variation in topics, often deeply personal, demonstrates the uninhibited, fluid nature of these spaces. It's a very intimate, yet totally public performance of processing information and emotion.
That vulnerability is key, I think.
It is, and this stream of unfiltered consciousness provides the ideal context for understanding just how profoundly Alberto's more structured, more anchoring presence impacts the space. He transforms it from basically a monologue into something far more interactive and maybe purposeful.
Right. He enters this highly personal, free associative flow and starts to give it some shape.
Exactly. He steps in.
And if we expand on that, this initial phase, dominated by Trombolyse's monologue, really exemplifies the fragmented information landscape that, let's be honest, many of us navigate daily. It's a performative act of sense-making, or perhaps attempting to make sense in a very public way.
It feels very relatable in that sense.
It does. The raw intimacy of it, where deeply personal musings are shared with potentially an unknown audience, creates a unique kind of social contract. It's a testament to the trust inherent in these live spaces, maybe.
That's an interesting point. There has to be trust there.
Now, the dynamic of the space begins to undergo a significant transformation when a Daniel Hill, Alberto, joins the conversation. His arrival isn't just another speaker popping in. It's a pivotal moment. It shifts the entire tone and structure of the interaction.
Absolutely. The ethnographic analysis specifically points this out. It says his arrival shifts the format from a singular narrative to a more interactive, albeit still fragmented, dialogue.
So from one person thinking aloud to more of an exchange.
Pretty much. Before Alberto, it's largely Trombolyse openly reacting to the digital world and her inner landscape. With Alberto, it starts to become a shared experience, an actual exchange.
Makes sense.
The analysis also briefly mentions other participants, people like Krippyhef, Visa Z, and Canfella.
Okay, so others do join in sometimes.
They do, but they often make what the analysis calls momentary disruptions. They might introduce new fleeting topics or affirm existing dynamics, but they frequently depart soon after their interjection.
So they're more like brief visitors.
Exactly. And this distinction is critical because it starkly highlights Alberto's sustained and integral presence. He isn't merely dropping in for a quick comment or a brief, yeah, totally. He commits to the space. He becomes a foundational element, an anchor in this sometimes chaotic ocean of digital ephemera.
Right, he sticks around.
Which contrasts sharply with the transient incursions of others, his endurance, his consistency. That's part of what makes him so vital, it seems.
This contrast between those fleeting interactions and Alberto's sustained engagement leads us to an important question, doesn't it? What exactly makes Alberto's presence so adhesive, so essential compared to these more transient participants?
Yeah, why him?
It's clearly not just about being present in the space.
Yeah.
It's about the quality and the function of that presence. His contribution goes beyond mere participation to fundamentally shaping the social and, dare I say, intellectual architecture of the conversation.
Architecture, I like that.
He provides a kind of gravitational pull, maybe, something that keeps the discourse from simply drifting apart into unrelated fragments.
And that leads us directly to Alberto's absolutely central identity within this Twitter space. He's undoubtedly a co-host, yes. But, more profoundly, he operates as a meta-analyst, an actual architect of the conversation itself.
Meta-analyst. Okay, tell me more.
The ethnographic analysis directly defines his role as encompassing philosophical, analytical, and meta-commentary. He's not simply talking in the conversation, he's talking about the conversation, observing its dynamics, elevating it to a more self-aware level.
So he's commenting on the process itself.
Exactly. It's almost like he's playing the game while also commentating on the rules of the game, you know?
That's a great analogy. And what's truly ingenious here, I think, is how he frames the entire interaction. The source specifically highlights his crucial contribution in making the conversation self-aware, transforming it into a performance about a conversation through his rules or a constitution.
A constitution, wow.
Yeah. This isn't just a playful quirk. It's a profound, almost sociological act. He's establishing a kind of social contract on the fly within a digital gathering that, left to its own devices, could be entirely formless.
Setting boundaries in the chaos.
Precisely. By setting these implicit and sometimes explicit boundaries, he gives meaning and a sense of shared purpose to an otherwise spontaneous exchange. It allows participants to understand not just what they are talking about, but how they are talking and maybe even why they are talking in this specific way.
That adds a whole different layer. And Trumbulize, the primary speaker, she undeniably recognizes this. She relies on him for this unique architectural role.
Well, she acknowledges it.
Explicitly. There's a really telling moment in the transcript around 16.08 where Trumbulize states, with what sounds like genuine relief and necessity, I cannot do this on my own. I cannot do it on my own. I need a Daniel Hill.
Wow, that's quite a statement of dependence almost.
It really is. A powerful, unvarnished declaration of his foundational importance, not just as a participant, but as a pillar supporting the entire structure of the space. And she goes even further. She directly calls him an expert in guiding her co-hosting duties. She says, you are very good at that. We are have an expert in that. This is around 16.08.25.
Okay, so she sees him as a mentor in that role too.
It's abundantly clear that she perceives him not just as another voice, but as absolutely essential to the space's very operation, its quality, and its ability to maintain coherence and depth.
This acknowledged expertise and that profound reliance on the primary speaker, it truly elevates Alberto's role far beyond just being a co-host, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
He's operating at a higher meta level, providing a vital framework for that potentially chaotic stream of consciousness to function within.
Yeah.
This also speaks to a deeper, often unarticulated need in online spaces for structure, even when the content is supposedly spontaneous and free-flowing.
We crave order, maybe even in chaos.
Perhaps, in a world awash with information, a guiding hand that helps make sense of the flow and even shapes it becomes invaluable. It's the difference between just a random collection of thoughts and a conversation that feels meaningful, that feels sustained.
Right. And a significant part of that crucial structure emerges from what Alberto playfully, yet quite seriously, refers to as the constitution of the space.
Constitution again. What's in it?
Well, he actively sets boundaries and expectations, often through specific linguistic rules. For instance, he details a prohibition against using the word failure or any of its variations when referring to oneself.
No saying I failed or that was a failure.
Exactly. He explains this rule as if it's enshrined in a metaphorical special dictionary that exists within a much larger, almost daunting 200-page document or manifesto.
A 200-page manifesto for a Twitter space. Is he serious?
It sounds partly playful, partly serious. This extended discussion happens between 16.09 and roughly 16.1 in the transcript. It underscores the detail and thought he puts into these rules. It's not just a casual suggestion, it's presented with this sense of established order.
Okay, that immediately raises an important question, though. What is the underlying philosophy, the true intent, behind these seemingly strict yet playfully presented rules?
Good question. What's the point?
It's clearly an attempt, I think, to foster a positive and supportive environment, to actively prevent negative self-talk, maybe, and to consciously manage the echoes, the long-term consequences of speech within this public forum.
Because words have weight, especially live.
Exactly. In a space as raw and immediate as a Twitter space, where words can carry significant emotional weight, such linguistic constraints, even when enforced with a light touch, can profoundly shape the performance of persona, and crucially, the emotional safety and well-being of the participants.
So it's about creating a safer, more positive vibe.
It seems so. It's about cultivating a specific constructive tone, actively trying to engineer a better online interaction experience. It's an interesting form of digital etiquette, really, designed perhaps for psychological well-being.
Beyond his role as a meta-commentator and this sort of rule-maker, Alberto also functions as a deeply empathetic guide and an emotional anchor for Trumbulize.
Okay, so he's also providing support.
Very much so. We see this clearly during segments like the Ask Me Anything or AMA around 17.17 in the transcript. Here, he's not merely responding, he's proactively prompting and guiding Trumbulize. He even gently pushes her to be more creative, more expansive with her answers.
So he's drawing her out.
Yeah, he's actively facilitating the conversation, coaxing out more depth and engagement rather than just passively waiting for it to unfold. It's a very active, supportive role he plays there.
And his deep understanding of Trumbulize's unique communication style, you mentioned that earlier, but the transcript has a fascinating quote here. He suggests he possesses the ability to, let me find it, encode the answer in a way where she's not lying, but she's sending the reply in a way that most impossible for a human being to actually fully understand the implications of that answer. That's around 17.9 on 0.54.
Wow, so he thinks she speaks in code sometimes.
Or at least in a very nuanced, complex, almost multi-layered style that he uniquely apprehends. And in a way, he helps to navigate or interpret that for the wider audience.
He's like her interpreter.
An astute one, it seems. Bridging the gap between her intricate expressions and the public's understanding, it suggests a profound attunement to her inner world, really.
And on an even deeper, more personal level, Alberto provides significant emotional support. He transforms the digital space into something almost akin to a familial bond.
Family? How so?
At 16.20.1, he declares Trombolise as my family right, basically.
He actually says that publicly.
Yes, and it doesn't feel like an empty platitude. It comes across as a public, heartfelt affirmation of a strong personal connection forged right there within this digital forum.
It's quite significant in an online space.
It is, and it's particularly meaningful as he also acknowledges Trombolise's quick deal of support from the wider community around 16.9.54. So he sees her as part of this larger caring network that he also belongs to.
So it's not just him and her, but a community feeling.
Exactly. Furthermore, he demonstrates incredible sensitivity and trust when navigating Trombolise's potentially vulnerable moments. For instance, she receives multiple phone calls during the live space. This is around 16.20.49.
Oh, awkward. How does he handle that?
He handles it with grace. He demonstrates this delicate balance between maintaining the public performance of the space and respecting her personal, private life, even within this recorded environment. It really showcases a profound level of trust and mutual respect between them.
What's truly fascinating here is how Alberto's role transcends the purely functional then. He isn't just a facilitator or a moderator. He's a personal confidant, a declared member of an adopted family within this digital realm.
Yeah, it goes much deeper.
This extraordinary blend of meta-commentary, rulemaking, and deep emotional anchoring positions him as a truly central figure, instrumental in cultivating both the intellectual structure and the emotional heart of the Twitter space.
Structure and heart, that's a good way to put it.
It profoundly underscores the universal need for human connection and support, even, perhaps especially within the often impersonal landscape of digital interaction. He proves that virtual spaces can foster truly authentic and meaningful relationships.
So we've explored Alberto's roles as this architect and emotional anchor within the Twitter space. But how is this multifaceted individual actually perceived by others who enter or inhabit this space?
Right, the view from the outside or from other participants.
It's a spectrum of digital identities, really. And one of the most intriguing perceptions is that of an AI enigma.
The AI thing again. Okay.
Newcomers to the space, specifically Visa Z and Ken Fella, almost immediately comment on Alberto's voice. They describe it as almost like an AI because of his remarkably perfect pronunciation.
Perfect pronunciation makes him sound like an AI. That's interesting.
Yeah. You can hear these observations around 17.29, 17.31 in the transcript. It highlights a striking first impression for those unfamiliar with him.
This is a truly remarkable moment in the transcript, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks volumes about our evolving relationship with technology and digital identity. What does Alberto do? Does he correct them?
No, that's the thing. Rather than correcting them or dismissing the idea, he playfully leans into this perception. He responds with a simple, "You're right, I'm an AI." That's at 17.31.07.
He just accepts it. Wow.
This fluidity, this playful blurring of the lines between human and artificial intelligence, it reveals so much about how digital identity is constructed and perceived online.
It really does. As the ethnographic document suggests, one could interpret this as a sophisticated form of self-preservation, maybe. A way to joke about digital selves while simultaneously asserting one's humanity.
Or maybe deflecting.
Could be. Is it a coping mechanism for the inherent anxieties of a digitally mediated identity, allowing for both a sense of detachment and profound engagement? Or maybe it's a commentary on the uncanny valley of online interactions, where perfect enunciation can actually make someone seem less human.
Right, too perfect is weird.
It blurs the lines in a very contemporary and thought-provoking way. It really challenges our assumptions about authenticity in digital spaces.
It certainly does. It raises profound questions. Yet on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, Alberto is also profoundly valued as a confidant and a deep listener, especially in helping Trombolise process anxieties.
So from AI to confidant, quite the range.
Exactly. The source document notes his critical role in the psychosocial landscape of an online identity, where deeply personal anxieties and disillusionment are openly and publicly discussed.
And Trombolise shares a lot.
A lot. She uses the space to talk about her trauma habits, political frustrations, including her father's gammon politics.
Okay, maybe we should just clarify that term impartially for listeners.
Good point. Yeah, gammon is often used, sometimes pejoratively in the UK, to describe a certain type of older, right-leaning male political viewpoint, sometimes characterized by a perceived sense of outrage or traditionalism. We're just reporting what's in the source, of course.
Right, just relaying the term used in the space.
And she also talks about feeling lost because her smarts do not align with capitalism. These discussions, found around 14.04 to 14.05 in the transcript, are incredibly vulnerable.
And Alberto's presence facilitates this.
It seems so. His consistent supportive presence appears instrumental in creating the safe space necessary for this level of public emotional sharing.
This collective processing of deeply personal anxieties, including complex psychological concepts like post-traumatic growth and hedonic recalibration.
Hedonic recalibration.
Yeah, that's our psychological tendency to return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative life changes, like winning the lottery or suffering an accident. People often eventually return to their baseline happiness.
Ah, okay, got it.
So discussing things like that really highlights what the source calls a new form of public vulnerability and a collective act of shared healing that this space, facilitated by Alberto, enables.
Healing in public, almost.
In a way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what's particularly powerful is Alberto's own willingness to reciprocate this vulnerability. He doesn't just listen, he shares too. He openly discusses having a broken heart at 17.40.1 del 2 in the transcript.
Oh, wow. So he puts himself out there, too.
Exactly. This shared emotional landscape reinforces his role as far more than just an intellectual guide. He becomes a truly deeply human connection, fostering empathy and mutual support in a way that transcends the typical digital interaction. It's a powerful demonstration of how online spaces can foster genuine human connection.
Now, here's where Alberto's role gets really fascinating, revealing another layer to his persona. He isn't just an emotional anchor. He also functions as a rule enforcer, but with a truly unique and paradoxical twist.
Okay, rule enforcer.
Ah.
How does that mesh with family and confidant?
Well, he openly shares what he calls his "I block you because I love you" philosophy.
He blocks people because he loves them. That sounds contradictory.
It does. He presents this as a known community claim and justify for blocking others. You hear him articulate this between 17.37.02 and 17.37.28. It's a statement that manages to be both humorous and deeply serious at the same time.
Okay, I block you because I love you.
Ah.
Despite its undeniably humorous and, counterintuitive framing, that is an incredibly astute and maybe effective mechanism for maintaining community dynamics and defining boundaries.
How so?
Well, it brilliantly manages expectations and relationships within the space. By framing moderation or necessary removal within a context of care and love rather than rejection or punishment.
Ah, so it softens the blow.
It does more than that. It allows for the enforcement of rules that are ultimately for the well-being of the collective, maybe even the individual being blocked in the long run. It's a sophisticated way of saying this space has limits, and enforcing them, even if it means blocking, is an act of care to preserve the positive environment for everyone, including you.
That's actually quite clever.
It truly is an interesting blend of discipline and affection.
Yeah.
It proves that community governance doesn't always have to be purely punitive.
Exactly. And we see him actively engaged in this nuanced form of social management and maintaining etiquette, not just through abstract rules, but through direct personal interaction.
Like dealing with specific incidents.
Yes. For instance, he directly engages with Canfella. He shows clear awareness of past interactions and acknowledges Canfella's apologies for prior offenses. This is detailed between 17.33.47 and 17.34.44.
So he remembers past issues and works through them.
Right. This isn't just about applying a general rule. It's about active, personal engagement in the intricate social fabric of the community, demonstrating a memory for past events and a commitment to restorative communication.
This active, personalized social management underscores a crucial point, doesn't it? Digital spaces, despite their mediated nature, rely heavily on interpersonal skills. The ability to navigate complex social cues, past histories, personal apologies.
It's still all about people.
Fundamentally. Alberto's role here is highly performative, yes, but it seems deeply impactful in shaping acceptable behavior, fostering reconciliation, and upholding the unspoken and sometimes spoken norms of the community. He's like a living, breathing social contract in action.
And finally, a clear and public validation of his incredibly positive perception comes from another active participant, Kripahev.
What did they say?
Krippahef offers a direct and unequivocal compliment. Two of the best hosts and co-hosts on Twitch, all right? This is at 17.15.34.
High praise indeed from a peer.
Exactly. This peer acknowledgement, given spontaneously and publicly, truly solidifies a Daniel Hill's respected standing and perceived value within the community. It reinforces that his efforts are recognized and appreciated by those he interacts with.
So if we connect this all back, Alberto embodies this rich spectrum of digital identities. From the almost AI with perfect pronunciation reflecting our contemporary fascinations and anxieties about technology, to the deeply human confidant and family figure who courageously facilitates public vulnerability and collective healing. His love-based rule enforcement highlights the wonderfully creative and often paradoxical ways that online communities establish norms.
It shows digital governance can be firm, but also caring.
Exactly. He's a truly fascinating figure who not only bridges the perceived gaps between technology and humanity and between structure and raw emotion, but also actively defines what meaningful connection can look like in our increasingly digital lives.
Let's now delve deeper into how Alberto actively influences not just who participates, but the very flow and substance of these conversational threads, moving far beyond mere participation to truly shaping the discourse.
Okay, so how does he steer things?
He is absolutely instrumental in transforming the space from what could easily remain a monologue, like Trombolize's early stream, into a genuinely dynamic dialogue. Our source material points out how a Daniel Hill introduces a layer of meta-commentary, transforming the chat from simple interaction to a self-aware performance.
The self-aware performance again, making the conversation notice itself.
Exactly. This is a significant shift, creating a conversation that observes itself as it happens.
This is a critical observation because in what the analysis describes as this stream of consciousness canvas,
Yeah, that chaotic base.
Alberto acts as a vital anchor. He injects more structured and propositional style precisely when it's needed. He prevents the conversation from completely dissolving into just disconnected, fleeting thoughts.
He keeps it on track, sort of.
More than that, he's the one who possesses the remarkable ability to step back, analyze the conversation itself, and then comment on its direction, its purpose, or its rules. This layer of self-awareness is rarely found in such spontaneous digital interactions, and it's a profound intellectual contribution that gives the entire space a sense of elevated meaning and coherence.
So he's not just participating, he's reflecting on the act of participation itself.
Precisely.
We see this beautifully and quite darkly illustrated in what's been termed the cannibalism discussion.
The cannibalism discussion.
Okay, that sounds intense.
It's memorable. Trombolize brings up this rather morbid anecdote about being chosen to be eaten first in a survival situation, referencing a tweet in a movie that sparked the thought.
Right, okay, dark humor territory. How does Alberto react?
He not only engages with this dark humor, but takes it a step further. He playfully offers himself for consumption.
He volunteers. Yeah. He says with this remarkable blend of humor and commitment to the bit, I'm a volunteer. You have to give anybody you have my consent to, yeah, you can kill me and yeah, I need me.
Oh.
That's around 16.31.39.
Wow. He really commits to this scenario.
This extended exchange, it spans from roughly 16.23 to 16.32. It highlights his willingness to engage deeply with hypothetical, even macabre scenarios, and his capacity to participate in a shared, albeit dark, sense of humor.
That kind of shared dark humor can be a powerful bonding agent within close-knit communities, can it? Allows for exploring taboos in a safe, shared space.
Definitely feels like that here.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this exchange isn't merely about a macabre topic. It's a vivid illustration of how Alberto, through his openness and playful engagement, facilitates the exploration of complex or unusual ideas within the established safety of the space he helps to create.
He makes it safe to go there.
It seems so. His response, even if playfully offered, shows a profound level of trust and a deep commitment to the interaction. He's not just discussing the topic intellectually, he's modeling a way of engaging with it that is both sincere in its playfulness and emotionally available.
That combination, again, playful but sincere.
This ability to navigate sensitive or unusual topics with both wit and warmth seems to be a hallmark of his unique influence. It makes the conversation feel both spontaneous and thoughtfully managed.
And this brings us to how Alberto intrinsically helps facilitate what the ethnographic document aptly calls the metagame of digital existence.
The metagame. Okay.
The continuous self-referential commentary from the speakers, with Alberto as an absolutely key driver, transforms the entire conversation into a performance about being in a public digital space. They are constantly aware of being on the record, joking about their roles, the platform's constraints, the very act of speaking live to an
So
audience.
they're aware they're performing being online.
Exactly. It's a collective, ongoing commentary on their own digital experience.
What's particularly insightful here, I think, is that this metagame also subtly extends to a collective critique of the very technology mediating their social lives.
How do you mean? Complaining about Twitter.
Sort of, yeah. The speakers, including Alberto, frequently express frustrations with various technical issues, from broken links that won't play to phone chargers described as having a design error.
Ah, the little annoyances of tech.
These aren't just isolated complaints, though. They reflect a shared collective awareness of the platform's inherent limitations and its pervasive influence on their interactions. This collective critique, often peppered with humor and shared exasperation, becomes yet another thread that binds the community.
Misery loves company, even digital misery.
It forges a sense of solidarity, right?
Mhm.
Navigating the quirks and frustrations of online existence together, they are acknowledging the digital stage they are on and even poking fun at its imperfections together.
Absolutely. And this brings us to a really powerful conclusion about Alberto's overall profound influence within this Twitter space. The document states that through his multifaceted role and the diverse perceptions of him, from that precise AI-like entity to the deeply human emotional anchor, he critically contributes to the human signal rising above the noise.
The human signal rising above the noise. I like that.
In a truly chaotic and fragmented digital environment, he helps to construct relatable narratives, create meaningful connections, and bring a sense of order and shared understanding, even amidst what would otherwise be just an overwhelming jumble of information and fleeting thoughts.
He makes sense out of the digital cacophony.
Perfectly put.
This really is the crux of Alberto's impact, isn't it? In a world saturated with digital noise, with countless voices competing for attention, his presence provides a clear, resonant human signal. He brings structure to spontaneity, depth to often surface-level interactions, and crucial emotional anchoring to an incredibly fluid environment.
He does it all, it seems.
His remarkable ability to be simultaneously a rule setter, a philosophical commentator, a source of deep emotional support, and even a playfully accepted AI allows the community to engage in these complex acts of shared sense-making and identity formation. He acts as a crucial guide and a foundational pillar, making the digital experience not just tolerable, but genuinely meaningful and deeply human for the participants. He is, in essence, an architect of connection. Hashtag outro.
So we've taken a deep dive into the extraordinary digital persona of Alberto, a Daniel Hill, within the vibrant, unscripted world of a Twitter space.
Quite a journey through his various roles.
We've seen him emerge as far more than just a co-host. He is a meticulous meta-analyst, carefully crafting that constitution for conversation. He acts as an indispensable emotional anchor, providing crucial support and publicly declaring others as family within this digital realm.
The supportive side was very strong.
And he's a figure perceived in a fascinating spectrum of ways, from an expert guide to an almost AI-like entity, and even that rule enforcer who paradoxically blocks others out of love, all while shaping the very fabric of interaction.
His multifaceted nature is key.
His role is undeniably central, critical to the unique dynamics, the communal sense-making, and the profound emotional landscape that define this unscripted digital environment.
If we connect this back to you, the listener, what does this all mean for your own understanding of online interaction?
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
It powerfully highlights how online spaces like Twitter Spaces, through the actions of individuals like Alberto, allow for an incredibly flexible and dynamic construction and perception of digital identities. It's a place where broad cultural references can mix seamlessly with hyper-specific niches.
Like 80s music and trauma theory.
Exactly. And where deep personal anxieties and vulnerabilities can be processed publicly, fostering a profound sense of community and connection that might otherwise be missing. These spaces aren't just about passively consuming content. They're about actively shaping, co-creating, and truly living within a shared digital narrative.
It's an active creation, not passive consumption.
Precisely.
Indeed. It leaves us with a provocative thought that lingers, doesn't it? In a world increasingly mediated by technology, if our digital identities become so fluid and adaptable that we can be perceived as both intimately human and playfully artificial intelligence.
That AI perception was really something.
What does this ultimately mean for our understanding of authenticity and genuine connection in the online communities of the future? What truly indispensable role will individuals like Alberto continue to play in guiding these evolving digital societies, acting as both their architects and their emotional anchors?
Bridging those often stark gaps between the technological and the profoundly human elements of our shared digital lives.
Something to definitely think about.